Music excerpt courtesy from a performance of the Natural musical soundtrack by the Santa Monica, California High School Wind Ensemble on May 28, 2014. Kevin McKeown, conductor. Mike Hiziek, arranger. Original composer, Randy Newman, for the 1984 film, The Natural. Produced by Delphi 2 Productions and distributed by TriStar Pictures, currently a member of Sony Pictures Entertainment Motion Picture Group.
Baseball is a uniquely American game. Its roots go back to a game played by indigenous people in North America long before Christopher Columbus stumbled upon the Bahama Islands. Centuries after the ancient Greeks formulated the idea of democracy, every person on a baseball team, originally called base, had an equal chance to hit a home run against a pitcher. Other sports have come and gone over millennia, but baseball has survived the ages. A player in baseball is both part of an organic team, but also has the unique opportunity to show his individual excellence, which is the essence of democracy.
True crime.
Sex.
Political conspiracy.
Celebrity gossip.
Murder.
UFOs.
Crooked officials.
The occult. Assassination.
Courtroom drama. Rape.
Corporate scams. Scandal Sheets. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Scandal Sheet. My name is Thad Helsley, and today is our annual Major League Baseball Preview episode. And of course, I am joined by my amazing co-host, Anurada, just back from saving people in Southern California from the wildfires. Welcome back, Anurada.
Hey, Thad. Hi, everybody. Hello, listeners. It is good to be back. Glad everyone is doing well in Southern California, hopefully now, and wishing everyone hopefully a speedy recovery during this time.
Cool. And as always, to guide us through the coming baseball season, we are again joined by our longtime guests and favorite New Yorkers, the Mets Mob. Cue the music!
And here they are, David Grover, resident of the Upper East Side and partner in Grover and Fensterstock PC Partners at Law.
What's up, guys? Happy almost spring. Very excited to be here. Pumped for the spring, pumped for the Mets. I'm pumped to see you guys. Let's do it.
Yeah, nice. Love it. Handsome Rob, also from the Upper East Side and voted the sexiest man east of Central Park. Rob, say hi.
Hello. Hi, everybody. Looking forward once again to putting out these predictions that nobody actually goes back to check if we were right or wrong, so we can say anything we want. And just looking forward to apologizing for every other sentence that Leonardo says from here on out.
Sexy Rob in the same sentence has me all distracted now. I'm not sure we could go forward.
You'll have to take some saltpeter, David.
Everything's relative.
Well, if we have reviewers back from their trance from Rob, last but certainly not least, the incomparable Leonardo from Manhattan. Len, say hi.
How are you, everybody? Out in podcast land. But I'm happy to be here. Let's go, Mets. It's going to be a tough season. It's going to be an interesting season. Thad, thanks for having us here.
All right. Thanks, everybody. And again, so we are delighted to have you guys back in the program. So as our regular followers know, this past December, we did a special bonus episode when the Mets signed the largest sports contract in history with 26-year-old phenom Juan Soto. Now, at the time when we did the episode, and it was only days after the announcement, you guys thought it was a really good idea. Although many of your fellow Mets fans pointed out that apparently Juan had gained 30-plus pounds since the playoffs. Anyways, what is the current news on the Juan Soto front?
D-Grove?
Well, all I have to say is I didn't get a good look at his physique, for better or for worse. But his first at-bat as a Met in spring training, he went deep. That's all I care about. And
Yeah,
that
he
says
hit
a
a
lot
home run,
about him
right?
because we know he's a great player. You never know how a guy's going to handle being on a new team. And to me, that is an example of his clutch ability. The whole stadium stopped. It was a sold out crowd. First at bat is a Met, and boom. So I'm very excited about him, and that shows who he is as a player.
Yeah, I was very disappointed that he didn't show up for the game on Sunday against the Nats. Apparently, it was sort of the B squad or whatever. So, and it was amazing that we actually beat you guys, but it was probably because you just gave us your minor leaguers that were just being brought up or something. But
Was he part of the Nats World Series team?
Pardon me?
Was he part of the Nats World Series team in like 17 or 18?
Yeah, in 19, yeah, he was.
Okay.
He was a big part of it.
That was Bryce Harper left.
No, Bryce had left the year before. Yeah, but I mean, Scherzer was there, Rendon was there, Trey Turner. Everybody was there except Bryce.
Bryce Harper does not have a ring, Leonardo.
He does not.
What about the pitcher that retired? He was there, right?
Strasburg?
Talking about
Strasburg?
No.
Yeah, he was voted MVP of the whole series, and that was the last time he ever pitched a winning inning in his life, even though he got that gargantuan contract a few months later.
Wow.
I think you're talking about the great Patrick Corbin, but that's another.
Okay. Well, he was good that year, and then after that, he became what's his face in Major League.
Vaughn into the windup in his first offering, just a bit outside. He tried the corner and missed. Ball 4, ball 8. Low, and Vaughn has walked the bases loaded on 12 straight pitches.
So I was just going to say, Juan Soto at this point is not a rookie. He's been around many times. This is his fourth team in the last 4 years. Dare I almost say he's a young veteran. So it's spring training. The games are meaningless. It's just basically an extended workout in real time. He got to have a little bit of fun with the new automated strike system. I think he got a strikeout reversed at one point when they took it back. But at this point, it's pretty much like we said last time. Great acquisition, but to Leonardo's point, unless Juan Soto can all of a sudden start pitching like Ohtani does, they need a couple of more guys to get out there and throw the ball.
That's a very old school thought. Pitching.
What do you
but
mean
I
old
heard
school?
some statistics this week.
Okay.
That if you're a top 8 team in hitting, you're almost guaranteed to make the playoffs. If you're a top 8 team in pitching, you're like 50-50. So based on the last 5 or 6 years, the best offensive teams make the playoffs, best pitching teams not so much.
D-Grove, I never thought I would say this, but listen to Leonardo.
Right, but once you get in the playoffs, it's pitching and defense that wins it. And the Dodgers.
Late in the year, the Mets had to the Mets had to bring Edwin Diaz in the 4th inning. That's a problem. That's a problem when you have to do that.
Yeah, but did the Dodgers win the World Series because of their pitching?
I think so. They had
stacked.
a fantastic bullpen.
That's a stacked team, and they did, and they had a good bullpen.
Yeah,
I mean our hitters. We made the Brewers bullpen look like pansies and sissies, which is like the types of people that Rob would hang around with during high school, as we all know.
Ouch!
If they would have me.
And then we played the Phillies, right? And we got a lot of late innings hits, which we did not against the Dodgers.
I can kick it off. Just in saying what I did before, the hitting looks great. I think they're going to make Lindor captain of the team next month. I mean, it's a ceremonial title to be sure. But the hitting's good. Pitching, I have concerns.
So sorry, sexy Rob. I don't think you heard the question. Not prospects.
Right. What are the prospects how the prospects are going to do this year?
Winning? Right. How are you going to do the season this year? Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant
right. New York.
Well, you mean like? No, I'm not saying draft picks or anything. I'm just saying, how do you see?
I'm sorry,
the
Your Honor. When you say
out in general
violation,
beyond Juan Soto,
exactly?
That's why he's sexy, Rob. Okay. So
hold up,
much better.
The Mets
Len,
are
much better
than last year. They're a better team overall, much better offensively, a little better in the bullpen, maybe a little better in the starting pitching. I think really the only concern is not really the Mets. I think it's your division. Outside of, no disrespect, Thad, to your team, outside of the Nats and outside of the Marlins, you could say the Mets, Phillies, and Braves are 3 of the top 6 teams in baseball.
Yeah.
So they're terrific teams.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a tough battle for the division and a tough battle to make the playoffs. I mean, that's the issue.
And how many times do you play each team in your division? I'm sorry to interrupt you. So out of 162...
Used to be 19.
I think it's more these days, right?
I think it went down. It used to be 19. Maybe it's less.
Do you play people in your division?
No, you play more. So not even that issue. It's that you have to fight them for a playoff spot.
Right, but if they're all good, you're going to have like 13 times. You play divisional opponents 13 times for a total of 52 games during the regular season.
Yeah.
So 52 games are in the NL East. And 2/3 of those are going to be tough, right, against the Phils and the Braves.
I mean, think about it, Leonardo. If you had to rank the best teams in baseball, obviously the Dodgers, the Yankees are in that top 5 or 6. Who else?
Phillies?
Brewers, maybe?
Well, the Phillies, maybe. But the Phillies and Braves might be better than the Brewers.
Yeah. It's a tough team, and the Marlins always have a puncher's chance. And I mean, the Pirates suck. We know that. The Cubs have improved. The Cardinals, I think, have taken a step forward or back. I'm not even sure. Diamondbacks, you never know. San Diego could be good, so you never know.
Okay. But compared to the Braves and Phillies, I don't think anyone compares to them.
I would agree. Hi, my name is Len Bilello, and in September of 2019, I was riding my motorcycle and an SUV ran a red light and crashed into me pretty good, but thankfully I survived with no major injuries. But it was that day that I decided to make a podcast about motorcycle safety. It's called Arrive Alive, and it can be found at arrivealivepodcast.com, or just search Spotify or iTunes for Arrive Alive. And if you have an Amazon Alexa speaker, just say, "Hey Alexa, play Arrive Alive podcast."
And for all you Twisted Sister fans out there, check out episode 87 of the Arrive Alive podcast, because we had Mark the Animal Mendoza, the bassist for Twisted Sister, and he has 500,000 followers across social media. He posted the episode, and the show is going gangbusters.
So if you ride or have a friend or a family member that rides, please do them a favor and send them to arrivealivepodcast.com.
So you guys sort of preempted Anurada's next question, about your take on the rest of the NL East. But, I mean, if you want to say anything else.
Well, I think that the Marlins are a joke. They didn't sign anybody. I think they signed literally one guy to a major league contract in the offseason. They're a disgrace. And I think the Nationals, you guys have some good young players. They didn't spend any money. They didn't bring anybody in.
No, but the young guys some of the young guys are pretty good, and we do get the first draft pick this year. But I mean, no, nobody thinks here in my market. Nobody thinks anything's going to happen.
I think Amador Rosario, the ex-Mets, on your team now, right? He's the guy we traded for Lindor.
Oh, is he? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. He's not on my radar screen, but okay.
Who's the best manager in the NL East? Who's the best manager in the NL East, would you say, Grove? It's not us, that's for sure.
I got to tell you, call me crazy, and you will. I loved what Mendoza did last year.
But he's not the best manager. Nobody would call him the best manager in the NL East.
In the NL East? There's only one person you'd maybe. I don't think you would say Dave Martinez. I mean, maybe the Braves manager.
Yeah,
that's the only thing you could consider.
Yeah, I think I would say that. But Phillies manager's good too.
But there aren't many managers that take over Mendoza.
Phillies manager isn't bad.
Phillies manager's not bad. But there's not many managers in baseball I would take over Mendy.
Well, when Jose,
it's only 1 year.
When Jose Lindor, that's his new name, Francisco Lindor, hits all those home runs, any manager looks good, right? So we have to make sure that Lindor's
leadoff prowess, still stays with him, right? I mean, he batted 330 as a leadoff hitter, and he batted that for the last 40, 50 games. So let's hope that stays with him. Nimmo, he's kind of injury prone. Let's hope that, he stays.
A bad year. He had a bad year.
Yeah. And, subpar. I wouldn't say terrible. But yeah.
It's the worst year as a pro, I think.
I don't know. Well, maybe, but he had some good years. Anyway. But
he batted 220 last year?
No.
Last year, batted 220.
But he had good power numbers.
Yeah, look him up. He hit a few home runs, but he had a terrible year. He had a good first half, horrible second half. And, but my thing about Mendoza is
you're right.
Manager's job is to keep the clubhouse in a good place. And when that team was a debacle the first month or two, he kept his cool, didn't change who he was, and the team recovered and became great, I think, because of his leadership.
How is Brandon Nimmo 31 years old? I thought he'd be 26. Holy, he's been around a while. Around 8 years. Mamma mia.
Yeah, he's been here 8 years for the Mets, sure. He got drafted out of high school, I think, but he's been around.
Yeah, he did bat 224, his lowest by far. But his power numbers, he had the most RBIs. He didn't have a lot of he had a lot of fucking I'm sorry, Stat. He had the most strikeouts ever.
Hey, we only do that for your mom.
Yeah, right.
Right.
No, the hope is he was injured the second half of the year, and maybe that's why he had a bad second half. First half.
Yeah, low. What's a good OPS? Anything above 725?
God, you're talking to old school guys now.
Right.
That's sort of Adirondha question. That's our generation.
All right, OPS. But he's good, I think he was clutch. I think. Even though he didn't, and batting average is not even a thing. His on base was 330, his lowest ever. Wow, he's got to bounce back, and I think he knows that.
Alvarez needs a big bounce back. He has a lot of power, and Vientos. Is he for real? He's gonna be here the whole season, hopefully.
Yep,
so
let's see how that goes.
Beatty.
Yeah. Well, Beatty right now might not make the team.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, he might. He's got a shot for the final spot.
Right.
Backup infielder, but he's not guaranteed to hit a home run today, though.
Okay.
All right. That makes him a prospect.
Okay. So, guys, what jumps out to me is this new umpire call challenge system. They're testing this spring training. It's not robo-umps yet, but it's kind of getting close. So how does it work, and what will it do to the game? What do you guys think?
Well, again, just to be clear, they're only doing it in spring training. They're not taking it into the season with them. Right, D-Grove?
Dave?
Right.
For 2025, maybe 2026.
Yeah. Right. They're saying 2026 if it works. Yeah.
If it goes well.
Yeah. I mean, from what I've seen of it so far, I like it.
I think, there's more strategy, right? Because the way they're testing it is only the batter or the catcher can call it, right? So I don't even know if they're even going to have time.
Pitcher.
I mean, the
one of the three: pitcher, catcher, batter.
Right. So they can't look to the. I mean, they can't. I don't know. Can the bench kind of yell to them? Is it the Price is Right, where people are saying higher?
Yes, they could.
Right.
But it has to be instantaneous.
What is the definition of it? Is there a clock? Like a call clock? It's
a good question. No, I don't think so. I just thought of this. Who has a better view of the pitch besides the pitcher, catcher, and batter? So imagine if it's a dugout, it's more if they had time to see a video,
right?
Which they won't. It has to be within a few seconds.
Well, I was just going to say, so I remember how the pitch clock was furiously debated for years and years.
Yes.
So people said it would ruin the game, and the entire world would basically come to an end. Well,
I said that, I think.
Which might still happen, by the way. Hang tight.
Well, the pitch clock started in 2023, and the only difference I can tell is that the games just got shorter. So wasn't that the original point, right?
You're absolutely right, Aretha. No. And the tickets got more expensive. So
Aretha
the cost.
St. Franklin.
Aretha.
You may need to
Aretha.
Fine.
Aretha.
Anuradha. No,
Trixie?
Anuradha.
Trixie.
Honorata, you're
Perfect.
completely right. And the tickets have gone up, so your cost per baseball minute has gone up, right? Because now you have 2-hour games. But I think it's better, right? My mother was born and raised in Italy, and when she moved to America, and she'd watch some games on TV with me, and she couldn't understand, like people like Mike Hargrove, the human rain delay, and all these people. They would step out of the box after each pitch, and literally 90 seconds would go by. And my mother was like, "Are you kidding me? In Italy, in soccer, like we get 45 minutes of straight play, then we take a break, and then we do it again." And now this is like it's better. It's better for the game. Now with the robo umps, which is inevitable, I think it'll make better. But why are you limited to 2? Right? Because then there's I think there should be.
Oh, is it only 2 calls a game?
If you get them right, then you get it back.
2 challenges.
2 challenges, yeah, unless you're right. So you better be right.
Oh my!
I think
God.
the reason they're limiting it to just 2 a game is they're not ready to take the human element out of the game completely yet. They still want the umpire on the plate. They still want calling balls and strikes to have the rhythm.
Right.
And they're not ready to say, okay, we're done with having. So maybe one day, but I think this is transition.
Well, and I just saw a report either this morning or last night that said Max Scherzer kind of blew his top about this whole thing. He was completely against it. Of course, the umpires union is against it. But, I don't know why, Max Scherzer, he's like, well, this is a human game. Let's just let humans play it. I don't know. I mean, and he's like 100 years old now, so I don't know if anybody cares about him. But
well, is it that much different than having it's a replay for plays at first base, home, things like that? Is it kind of along the same lines?
Dave, let me ask you this. If you're one of the best lawyers in the country and you object to something,
which he is,
or something like that, will a judge sometimes give that lawyer a little bit of leeway, knowing the skill and the reputation that a lawyer has?
Yeah, you're right. I mean,
okay.
I think the fact that he said it as opposed to a number 5 starter of Cleveland makes a difference. Right. So the commissioner heard him. Doesn't mean it's going to decide in that favor, but I think the fact he said it, it's story.
Right.
And the fact you even brought it up is because he said it, not somebody else.
I know, but it just seems, wouldn't a pitcher, like if they pitch something right into the strike zone and the guy doesn't hit it, it seems like the pitcher would be the first guy to say that call, the umpire calls it a ball or whatever.
You know what I think it is?
No? Okay, what?
A guy like Max Scherzer gets calls and maybe other pitchers don't.
Well, that's what I was saying. Like,
okay.
Yeah. Greg Maddux would be a 500 pitcher or below because he got all the, he'd throw balls like 4 inches off the plate and he'd get the calls. And Steve Carlton, if you remember, got a lot of calls because they were so good that other guys wouldn't. And from the hitting perspective, right, Barry Bonds, if he didn't swing at a pitch, it was deemed a ball because he had one of the best eyes, around. So that kind of doesn't happen anymore. No one wants to be in a car or a motorcycle accident or a slip and fall that causes physical or mental damage. And even construction accidents are on the rise today. But if you or a friend or family member are injured, you need a professional and understanding law firm that has experience in getting the most for their clients' injuries. And you can find all of that at the law firm of Grover and Fensterstock. They are a premier personal injury firm located in New York City, and their track record is excellent. They have years of experience working and winning for their clients. Now, they offer a free consultation, and they only get paid when you get paid. So how do you get in touch with them? Well, you call David Grover at 1-866-99-LAWYER and mention that you were referred by the Scandal Sheet podcast, one of your favorite podcasts, of course. So David Grover at Grover and Fensterstock, 1-866-99-LAWYER, 866-99-LAWYER. You'll be glad you called.
Here was the other big story, or is the other big story this year, which has been a big story in the past, and it's called salary caps. Now, this is always the story with when a couple of teams go over the top in terms of spending, who would those teams be? Maybe the Mets and the Dodgers? Okay, so they're spending the other owners out of possibility. So remember, with you guys, we covered the 2022 strike extensively and the and the bargaining agreement and everything, and that was on the table, but then it was taken off the table. But the current bargaining agreement only expires next year in 2026, which is like right around the corner. Now, the current any owner who is not owning the Mets or the Dodgers is saying that a couple of insane billionaires are ruining the game by just buying the World Series. How do you guys respond to that charge?
I respond saying that there are two billionaires running our country and doing a freaking amazing job. And I agree with what Dave said during the commercial break. That's really Dave's feeling he was talking about during the commercial break. So I would agree with that. No, but seriously, it's tough, man. If
you would agree with that they're ruining the game.
Dave's showing for what?
Dave mentioned that two billionaires running the country and trying to save us money is a good thing. You said that during the commercial break.
Well,
so it was a hot mic.
Should two billionaires
on this show? But no, I did not say that.
But should two billionaires basically rig the game? The question is, can they have like $1 billion payroll and no one else can afford it except those two guys? Does that ruin the competitiveness?
It does.
Well, my whole life, as a growing up Mets fan in New York with the Yankees right here, I was begging for a salary cap. It was unfair. Teams should not spend more than other teams. It should be like the NFL, where everyone spends the same amount of money.
Because you were looking at the Yankees or whatever in your market and just saying, how can anybody compete?
And the Mets had nothing. Mets bought nobody.
Right.
And I hated that. And now for the first time in my life, I have an owner who's spending money. Mm-hmm. So yes.
So now you've switched.
Salary cap.
Now you've switched.
In principle.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, we should have it. But just not yet. Can I enjoy having an owner who spends money for a little while? Just a little bit.
Can I just?
But it doesn't.
Can I just have
to make
a couple of
moves.
gallons of?
No, not really.
You still have to make smart moves. Remember that guy on the Pirates, like people like on the Pirates and other teams. They get these guys that are good, and then they can't keep them for 4, 5, 6 years till they go free agent. I feel bad. And on an off topic, David, and this is kind of a serious question.
Yeah.
For years and years and years, injury attorneys, and I have an injury attorney that sponsors my podcast, and he got like 2 pieces of business through our writing group. They all take a third.
Cool.
Are there any injury attorneys that say, "Hey, we'll only take 25%," or are there better ones that say we'll take 40% because your chances of winning with us are better?
Well, first of all, you can't.
It's a law.
You can't go above 33rd.
Can you go below?
In New York, you can't go above a third. You can go below, but no one does that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I'm not sure how that connects to this. Rob, jump in here, man. You're usually the voice of reason.
So people have to follow the law, is what you're saying.
Is he talking? I can't hear.
I know, what a novel idea.
Even billionaires have to follow the law. Yes, they do.
Really? Even presidents?
In theory.
Got it.
So, anyways, Rob, what do you think about this whole salary cap thing? Do you think it's true that the Mets and Dodgers are the other 30 owners are saying you guys are fucking up? I'm sorry. You guys are screwing us.
You get a team like the Marlins, right? And if they build up a core foundation of great players, you know that within 2 or 3 years, one's going to be with the Dodgers, and another one's going to be with the Mets. D-Grove, I'm not unhappy about that. Another player is going to be with the Yankees. These guys can't afford to keep those players in these smaller markets. The Kansas City Royals are not going to be able to build a dynasty. They're only going to be able to do it for a year. And that's just because they lucked out. Well,
and that's the point. Can you be competitive when these two supermarket teams that have gazillions of people in them?
Now, conversely, on the other side,
does Milwaukee compete?
But somehow Tampa competes every year. And Tampa is a small market with a small budget. So if you have smart people running the team, again, if smart billionaires are running the show, then you're in good shape.
Okay, but Tampa has maybe always the smartest ownership and smartest baseball people in baseball, right? How many championships have they won?
But they're always competitive.
That I'd have to look that
But
up.
they're brilliant, and they're absolutely brilliant.
Right.
But they're
Right.
But they
That's
also,
my
because
point.
they have a different business model. They trade good players before they're free, 2 years before they're free agents. They constantly build up their farm system.
And they got to make good
They
decisions.
never had a shot.
Yeah. They have to make good decisions.
never
They
had
have
a
good
shot at Juan
personnel, which
Soto.
they did in the Mets for many, many years. Did not. I think Omar Minaya was probably the last good, kind of personnel guy we had.
Sandy was okay, but the problem is the fans can't get attached to players. Part of the fun of being a baseball fan is rooting for someone for many years, David Wright or whoever it is, and they don't have that. Pete Alonso.
Right. Yeah.
So if you're a fan of Tampa, you'll see you're rooting for the laundry. Guys haven't gone in a couple years, and
You're rooting for a
the better
sweater.
he is, the more of your chance to be traded.
Right.
Yeah, and when I go to a Nats ball game, like let's say last year, there's still like thousands of people wearing Scherzer T-shirts, Juan Soto, Rendon, even Jason Worth.
Wow.
I mean, all these guys that have been long, long gone. But that's it. Those are the last guys they knew that they liked. So
Right.
and there was that. People were accusing the Lerners, who own the Nationals, of being like your current owner back, between 2011 and 2019 as like trying to buy the World Series because they were high. I mean, they had these great, when they were really, really bad, they had these great draft picks like Scherzer and Harper, but then they bought everybody else, like Scherzer and Rendon and Turner and whatever. So, and I guess that just now, everybody here in this market is like, these guys won't spend $1 on anybody. They just get they get a kid from a high school team and make him throw a pitch. So
These owners, what's up with these owners?
Well, in the case of the Lerners, they were, the whole team was a kind of a front for developing this area of Washington, this worthless areas of Washington real estate. And the whole deal was the city agreed to build the stadium, and then they were going to build all the condos and restaurants and retail and stuff around the stadium. So the stadium became the anchor, and because they were in the real estate, but they're not in the sports business. They've been in the real estate business for like 60 years, until the owner died last year, or the patriarch. So, that was really kind of the deal. So now when COVID happened, it blew up the real estate marketplace in DC. I mean, nobody wanted to renew their office leases or anything like that. So that's their problem right now, is they lost.
Well, who's going to spend money? Do they have new ownership yet? I don't remember.
No. Well, they were on the market for 2 years, and then they couldn't get the price they asked for. Teams of higher quality went for lower prices, like the Orioles. And so they took them off the market, and they said, well, let's just sit around and suck it up until the prices go back up. But they won't spend any money. They won't
horribly low.
Pardon me?
It's like bottom 10, maybe.
The Nationals?
Yeah.
No, they're like the second worst team in baseball.
No. Payroll?
Oh, no, payroll, they are super, super low. They've got, this year is actually, I just heard this statistic today. So the highest paid guy on opening day is the lowest paid guy back in 2010 on their payroll. $10 million is their highest paid guy. So this is their smallest payroll in 15 years.
Well, if they have a salary cap, they also might have to have a salary floor.
I don't think they're working on salary caps there, yeah.
Yeah, and they need to have a floor for teams like that. I mean, Marlins are paying nothing, 20-something million, I think.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Well, I mean,
That's crazy.
And they don't even have an audience, do they? Because they're like, aren't they in the sub? I mean, there's all kinds of problems with that team, but.
Well, I'm just looking here. It says the payroll tax goes to 25% towards player benefits, 25% to retirement funds, and then 50% goes to smaller market teams. What does that mean? I guess anybody, 12 of the 30 teams, maybe 15, it goes to are distributed to teams that have increased their non-media revenue over multiple years. This helps smaller market teams spend more on high-quality players. But what does that mean, increase their non-media revenue? So non-media means like baseball tickets?
Attendance.
Tickets?
Attendance and
hot dogs? Well, what if they haven't increased it? Like small market teams, it's hard for them to increase any revenue. That's so silly. What does that mean?
So they don't get it. But, there is kind of a salary cap in a way. It's not a hard cap, but it's a luxury tax,
right?
And if not for that, there's Mets could use another pitcher, could use Quintana, they could use Iglesias, but anyone they sign now, they pay 125% tax.
Not more.
So if they want, they like to have Quintana. Let's say he's worth $12 million. It'll cost him $27 million.
Yeah.
So Steve Cohen has said, I don't really want to go there. I'm rich. I'll spend a buttload of money, but if I'm going to spend 125% luxury tax, it better be someone I'm dying to get. So it does restrict the Mets and the Yankees a little bit. Dodgers maybe not, but the Mets and Yankees are very cognizant of that.
Mm-hmm. Thing else, what do you guys have? Any other closing remarks? Anything we missed? Anything you want to say about the upcoming season, about the current state of baseball on the planet? I mean, do you feel like it's getting, compared to football, basketball, everybody else, is it holding its own? Is it going down? Is it going up? What do you guys think?
I think I don't watch that much NFL anymore. I think the NFL is like a mistress, that you get a lot of excitement over a short period of time. And I think baseball is like your husband or wife, depending on the gender expression that you choose. And you have a longer relationship. It's a deeper relationship. I mean, a lot of NFL fans can't name a lot of the players on the NFL team, partially because you got 50 players, number one, and you can't see their faces. And there's nothing like, and you know me, I'm a motorcycle rider. I have my own podcast, AlivePodcast.com. And I say this in seriousness. And one day,
I wonder if our audience even knows about that.
To take David Grover on the back of my motorcycle to the 11-mile trip to Citi Field, where we'll pay probably $45. And that's my one pet peeve, is that Citi Field charges
$45 to park a motorcycle.
I'm sure it's gonna be $45 this year, and the motorcycles pay the same amount as cars, which is silly because there's motorcycle only parking that is very small. So, but other than that, there's nothing like going out on a Saturday afternoon. And kudos to the Mets. They did this last year. Dave mentioned this, I think, in the last show or last year, that their Saturday games are now afternoon games. So you can, on a nice June Saturday afternoon, you can go there and enjoy it. There's really nothing like it. There really isn't,
Yeah.
And football is cold.
Love those
and
Saturday afternoon games.
So that's what I will say. And it just feels a little bit. It feels a little bit weird. Like these people. I think we said this last year too. There are people that transform their lives. They go from 400 pounds to 180 pounds, and they kind of don't know how to feel, because as Met fans, we're so used to having everything going the wrong way. We're so used to disappointment and shame and melancholy, and now we're going to have everything but. So part of like being a Met fan now is just kind of acclimating to being like, hey, we're the big men on campus, And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It's just a different thing.
No, it's like Rocky 2. You guys came from nothing, and now you just won the belt.
And now we're expected, right? Like,
hey, Adrian, we did it!
Right.
So, or almost.
Yeah, so.
Well, I think baseball is fine. Baseball is drawing as much as ever. Their ratings, the money they're getting from these networks is off the charts.
Is it? Okay.
Look at these salaries. Look at what they're paying these guys. I mean, you're not making money. You're not paying these guys money.
They're not paying football players this kind of money.
No, these guys are making crazy money.
Of course, they play
And
162 games, not
look
16.
at Soto, look at Ohtani.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the money that's being thrown around, and that tells you how they're doing. So I'm not worried about baseball. They'll be doing just fine. And the Mets are in for a long, really good period with a great owner, a great president of baseball operations, and yes, Leonardo, a great manager. So I am very excited for not only this year, next year, but for the next 10 years, 20 years.
Let's make sure that we are around. But yeah, for sure. Let's get this year over with.
Arrive alive.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, guys, thank you very much. It's always great to have you guys on, and I know our audience appreciates it. So, anyways, ladies and gentlemen, the Mets Mob!
Thank you. Woo! Thank you, everybody.
Let's go, Mets.
Please follow or subscribe to Scandal Sheet on your favorite pod platform and share it with all your friends. We'd also love it if you'd leave us a shameless, over-the-top rave review on Apple Podcasts especially. That helps us build audience. And we would really appreciate it if you could support us on Patreon, where you can enjoy premium bonus content for less than the price of a cup of coffee at Starbucks. Just go to patreon.com/scandalsheet. Also, we want to hear from you. You can reach us online at Facebook or X, formerly Twitter, LinkedIn, or TikTok. Or just send us an email to scandalsheetpod@gmail.com. See you next time on Scandal Sheet!
Copyright 2024. Thad Halsley Media. All rights reserved.